freaking music on. How about that? Let's put on a little bit of this.
Rock. Free my mind to shy out. Free my mind to shy out. Free my mind to shy out. Free my mind, yo, free my mind to shy out. I get it there for America. She know they ever let me down. I get another one for Senegal. She know they ever give me knock. I get another one for Unilag.
All right, kids, we are live for sure. Zings wanted to make sure everything would be popping in that direction. I think we are ready to rock and roll. So, hi, hello. For those of you who haven't met me yet, my name is Starlight. Yes, really. My parents were total hippies. Actually, my mom was a hippie and my dad was a know-it-all, and so I'm a total badass. Anyways, just it's nice to meet you. Today, I really wanted to dive into something that I see as a massive opportunity for people who are online business owners, like across the board. Yeah, the whole idea is that in order to make your business scalable, you want to have like a captive audience that you're giving value to, and they hang on your every word, and they are predictably either going to buy today, buy in 90 days, buy in the next 2 years, right? And there's so much emotional little squish that gets tied up in having an email list, that so many folks who have lists that they've established in some form or fashion don't take valuable action to maximize the hell out of their email list. Real talk. An email list is a money tree for your business. It doesn't grow overnight, doesn't bear fruit overnight. If you know anything about like an avocado tree, you can plant it, but you're not going to get an avocado from it for 2, 3, maybe 5 years, right? Lemon trees, all kind of fruit is like that. And so that's the idea, that we're working towards having an email list where literally you walk out in your front yard and you go boom, and freaking money falls out. Okay? Now, the biggest, lowest hanging fruit opportunity, continue with my fruit method here, is to maximize the list that you already have. And a lot of that means really taking your attention and focusing on that nifty 60, 70, 50% probably of your list that isn't doing much, right? They're not really opening, they're not really engaged, they're not really doing anything. What do we do about that? Yeah? Okay. So, switch back over to my dope little tingum. We are gonna get into it. First of all, nobody likes The Walking Dead, me included. Like, a little secret about me is I was raised very, very restricted in what sort of content I could consume. And so I didn't consume anything scary growing up, and nothing that doesn't exist, like witches and ghosts and goblins. Like, we'll have a discussion about that another day. So scary shows really scare the bees out of me. And The Walking Dead's a good one. In fact, as I was looking for a photo to put in this, I was freaking myself out looking at the stock photography of like finding something that like insinuated zombie without actually being a zombie. And I decided that I could tolerate this one because it might be sexy if you misconstrue it, right? Like, oh, maybe there's a couple there and they're being romantic in a hallway. It's the only way I can look at this image without freaking myself out. Okay, but back to the presentation. Nobody likes The Walking Dead. Dead weight subs are problematic on your business because, not because like, oh, we don't want to say, like, listen, you're paying your email service, right? You're paying your email service based on the features that you have and how many people you have on your list. If people on their list are not opportunities for your business, and I mean that broadly, they could be clients, they could be peers, they could be VIPs, they could be all sorts of people. Like, your list can be made up of various segments that are valuable to your list. But if they are not valuable to you, they don't belong on this email list. Doesn't mean they don't belong in your life. Doesn't mean they don't belong in your contacts. It just means that your list isn't the right place for it, right? Now, we don't want you spending money on non-buyers. That's really what it comes down to. Strategically, you're looking at an asset that you have and wanting to make sure that it delivers for you. If you are ignoring a segment of your list because they're just quiet or they don't open or you don't really know what's going on with them and you don't pay them any mind, you're basically paying money to like soothe your own feelings about how you're using an asset that's a literal money machine inside your biz, right? Okay. And then finally, a lot of people end up with Walking Dead because they're not entirely sure how to solve it, how to do the problem. So a lot of people kind of address their email list like this, where they're like, "Oh God, I hope that it's just not too bad," right? Okay. So today I would like to solve that, and I would like to solve that specifically with this adorable little squirrel who knows where the nuts is at, on how to turn your whole situation into something where you can shake the tree and money falls out, right? You can shake your email list and money falls out. What that really means is that every sub on your list means something. It doesn't mean that they're a customer, but it does mean that they mean something. Either they're a VIP, are they a partner, are they people, are they previous clients, are they like there are people who belong on your list, but they need to mean something to be there. If there's somebody on your list who's just there for show or like for your own sense of like, yay, they haven't unsubscribed yet, they might be holding you back a little bit, right? We want the goal of every sequence, the goal of all this work that you put into growing this money tree is about making sure that, like, I don't know, maybe if you've grown like a tomato plant and you know that like the best way to make a tomato plant big and strong is to let it grow real leggy, and then when you go to put it in the ground, you bury it like up to its neck where the last leaves are, and you sacrifice those leaves underneath because it's going to turn that whole leggy stalk into roots that make your tomato plant even bigger and brighter. When your tomatoes start to get big and branchy, you cut off branches that will be in the shade or won't bear as much fruit, so the tomato can really focus on those specific branches and really producing fruit. We do the same thing with our email list. It's not an offensive thing to do. It's something that we do in order for it to bear a lot of fruit. Yeah? Okay. And then the second bit of this that is like the ideal outcome is so that we have a reliable and predictable system to grow your business instead of just like hoping for launch prayers, where you write out a sequence and you send it out and you pray to the launch gods that it gets high conversions, right? This is what this little session is really about solving for you and where I'd like to move the needle towards. Okay? So 3 mistakes that you want to absolutely avoid in creating your own little money tree. Listen, the first one is like getting caught up in your own shit. I'm sorry, sometimes how we think about our email list, how we've attached it to our level of success, especially when you've got some that is carrying some heavy weight, it's not time for you to get caught up in your own shit in order to solve something for your business. And so what I want to kind of show you so that this is a dope little visual for you. See if we can make that. That looks great. Let's switch over to it here. Fabu. Let's say that this whole big bunch of circles is your email list. Let's even go a little bigger so we feel like it's nice and sizable. What I can tell you is that this dope little nugget right here are people who are very likely to buy from you like now, right? This isn't a big percentage. 1% as a standard, 3% if you're lucky, 7% if you're a nasty marketer and you know what you're doing. But people ready to buy from you right now exist on your list. How do we find them? How do we suss them out? And then let's say our next level here is we've got this dope little chunky. These are people who are very likely to buy from you in the next 90 days. And that's like 15% of so let's say that this is 50%, and then these 3 are the remaining 50% of your 100% list. That would put this at about like 15, 16% of your list being ready to buy in the next 90 days. which means that your communications and your sequences aren't really about like welcome, nurture, launch, sell, close, move on to the next. Some people just aren't able to buy when your launch is happening, or they're at the very early part of their journey and they haven't really realized how impactful your offer is, but they're still on your list, and in 90 days their business could be in a totally different place or whatever, thanks to you, and they can be ready to purchase, right? And so the communication that we're offering these two levels of people is also distinctly different. We want to find the difference between these people, and then we want to send them the right message. And then finally, well, I guess not finally, technically we're headed into thirdly, almost finally, we've got this lovely group out here that is like folks who are going to buy from you in the next 2 years. Yeah. And when we treat our list as though everybody who's outside the green and yellow, as though they're actually people who may never buy from us, which is, we can say, this outside list, right? This outside chunky. Forgive me, the pen doesn't get any bigger, and this is really fun, but I don't have a stylus to do this with ease, so I'm doing it with my little dope track finger mouse. Oh my God, fill it in. Great. I'm really looking forward to investing in a little over-the-head shenanigans so that I can draw on my desk and demonstrate this stuff, but for now we use the tools that we have. So, back to what I was saying. This outer rim, 50% of your list may never buy from you. That doesn't mean they're not of value to your business. That doesn't mean that they may not eventually become part of these inner circles. But we're not just looking at these people in the outer rim and trying to get rid of them. We're also making sure that there are opportunities inside your communications where you're speaking to people who aren't going to be ready for a while but will. And people who might be ready soon and people who might be ready now. And if you don't have a system or a method or a lead magnet or a communication sequence for people at each of these levels, that's one of your first opportunities, is to map this out for yourself, draw 4 little circles and go, this 1 to 3% that's ready to buy now, what am I going to offer them? How am I going to find them? This little bit that's going to be ready to buy for me in the next 90 days, how am I going to speak about what I think that they're most likely going to want to buy and make them ready to get it, right? This is where we're really talking about results, case studies, removing obstacles. For these people out here, we're talking about providing value and help them get ready to be my clients, right? Continue to bring up things that are happening in the world in the way that it affects your business, in addition to providing value so that they can move forward, so that when the time comes, they have everything they need in order to work with you. And then out here, who is on my list that may not actually buy from me, but is probably a great connection and can be of value? We're talking about like people who listen to a podcast but haven't bought yet, partnerships, co-workers, your sort of network of peers, people that inevitably are on each other's lists because we're there to support each other, but we're not each other's clients, right? Your goal is to obviously make this as dense and as tightly packed as possible. 50% is a low bar in the context of how much of your list should never buy from you. I think you could do a little bit of work and turn this into a much narrower percentage of your list. Now, the thing that people often think about when they are thinking about like the quality of their list is their open rate and their click-through rate. And if we look at this and we just said, okay, 70% of this list, right? If we got like 30% open rate, yay, that's acceptable. That's in the region of doable. 30% is of that dope little circle that we have here. That's really not much of the list. That leaves us 70% who, for whatever reason, saw one but not all of them, or got busy over the weekend or forgot, or just like mass selected everything in their promotions folder and sent it out, right? There's a lot of opportunity inside of this very large percentage that you're leaving on the table when you only focus on what people open and what people are clicking through, and you're not understanding what level people might be at and communicating to them at that level. You feel me? Okay, let's switch back over to the next little magic bit. Okay, the next piece is about not treating everybody the same on your list. We talked about each of those divisions, but I'm going to take it a step further. Let's say you've got a really dope ass offer, or you've got a couple offers. We all have our target avatar. In this case, I want you to imagine your target avatar being split into 4 different ages, right? Down here, there's super duper baby in whatever they're good at with you avatar. And up here, they're like stacked to the gills, succeeding on every level. They just want to throw you money to stay in their corner and help them get results, right? We got those kind of 4 different quote ages here. Each of these stages has a unique voice, need, symptom, opportunity, and a lead magnet that makes sense. And so if you think about how you're treating everybody the same, if you're treating everybody the same with your lead magnets, you're going to get exactly one kind of audience, right? If you are treating everybody the same on your email list, you're only going to get one type of person responding. When your list, again, is made up of a whole lot of other people. I showed you like a quick example of this, what this looks like filled in. I use this model quite a bit with my clients in helping them develop their solutions that scale, helping them hone in on the messaging for their launch, how to create a sequence that takes somebody at this stage and works them through into stages 2 and 3 where they're ready to pay me to do work with them, right? Because stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, I've got offers for those people, paid offers, right? And my communication sequence, my email sequence, when people join, does its best to let me know where they belong on these stages of the progress pyramid and send them to the correct messaging, right? Okay. So what does it look like to hot up your list if it's kind of sleepy already? We're just going to solve it right now. You've got a lead magnet. If it's a good one, it's converting over 50%. Take that lead magnet and make it a personal email invitation to your cold subs and get them to engage with your list. Get them back into the welcome and nurture sequence so they're back on board with you, right? Essential. This is it in the context of like, where do you start with nurturing your list back to health? This is it. But this little piece, the welcome sequence and the lead magnet, you probably already have this. This is really about just sending an email with the juiciest piece and inviting them not to miss out and stay apart for a long time, right? In the sequence. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this if you haven't already, because this is some valuable-ish, right? In theory, you should probably have, you may have multiple lead magnets, you may have multiple things that people sign up for, but if you're going to go and try and re-engage your cold subs, pick the biggest, shiniest object that you have in the context of value. Yeah, okay. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, so let's break it down to the exact sequences that you really need inside of your list, and we'll start from the most priority to the last. Well, they're all very important. But if you don't have the first one, don't work on the second one, right? It's kind of like that. So, welcome sequence. I showed you what that looks like. I don't want to hear how this might be hard and difficult for you. I want you to use your imagination and find lots of ways to communicate this info. These don't have to suck. Follow people whose welcome sequence doesn't suck, but you'll still see underneath they're not sucky emails. This is what they're working you through in the journey, right? A welcome, their best advice, deliver value, deliver value, deliver value. Promised outcome, this could be you. Don't let this mindset fuck you up. Here's where I'm all about and why I created this thing. Ready to get started? Let's go. And maybe that's to an offer or maybe that's to a call with you. But if you don't have this, like, do not pass go, do not collect $200, put this ish together because delivering your lead magnet is just the first step. Okay. Welcome sequence. We'll assume you've already got one of those because you're total baddies. And if you don't, I'm going to welcome you to hurry, hurry, hurry and get yours put together. The second is having them segmented, or a method to help you segment them. So is the lead magnet designed for people at different stages inside of your progress pyramid? If it is, then you smart AF, because you know that a lead magnet that comes in with like Social media 101 as a lead magnet is totally different than how to determine your customer lifetime value. Well, those are speaking to two totally different people. Totally different people. Both valuable information, but I know based on what one somebody signed up at, where they are inside of this progress pyramid inside of my business, and I communicate with them differently. And even if you don't have sequences tailored to the different levels, you should find opportunities in your welcome sequence, in the email sign up process, if you can swing it from a technology perspective, to have people tell you where they are by like one simple question, right? Or by having them pick out of a list of 3 or 4 things. Like if you had one thing to focus on in the next 90 days, what would it be? This, or this, right? The next year, make it soft, whatever. But when you list those 3 things, each of those clicks should be noted and they should be tagged on your email magic as the subscriber who goes, oh, Jennifer is totally interested in growing her community versus Joe, who still really needs to work on his email list. You dig? Because that information now tells me so much. And when I sit down and go, I need to close some freaking deals. I've got this new offer coming up. I could send it out to my entire list totally and just kind of introduce it softly. But I know that there's a percentage of my list that is specifically interested in this topic, and I'm going to speak to them quite a bit differently. And I'm going to put it in the world of, I made this for you. Whereas everybody else on the list, it's like, I made this. Is this right for you? Maybe it's right for you. I think it's right for you. Come buy this thing if it's right for you. But the people who I know, who I have in mind as I'm building the offer, those people I have segmented on my list, and I'm going to send the invite directly to them in a completely different language than everybody else. You hear me? So even if you don't have sequences that are segmented or conversations or topics that are segmented, have a way that you can begin or already do as people enter your world, segment themselves for your data gathering information, right? Okay. What do we do once we get our segmentation set up? We kick off this win back sequence. It's super easy, boo. It's this one. It's not that complicated. We pick our highest performing lead magnet and we invite them to come back into our world, and we send them a few reminders with additional value and additional cookies to go, come on, please, come on, please, come on, please. And if they don't do Jack Ross for 90 days and they don't open a thing and they don't click a thing, then they're outie like outies. And it's okay, and it feels good because, oof, I love a motivated baddie. I don't have any interest in like being an entertainer. I have an interest in having an impact, right? And that's a big difference that I think you can assimilate into your way of thinking about your email list, of where, like, if you're providing value, if you're creating all this stuff, if your whole goal is to have an impact in people's lives, and they find you entertaining and not valuable, is that good? I don't think it's good. I mean, I guess if you're like really focused on social media shares as your way of doing business, you know what I mean? Like, boo, hard pass. Yeah? Okay. So, win back sequence is real simple. Have that handy. Once you've written it once, you can trigger it to send to anybody who in the last 90 days hasn't opened, clicked, or read anything. It goes by itself once you've done it. Amazing. Kick ass. And then this one is where everybody gets squeeby. Oh my God, you've got to provide weekly value because you're continuing to demonstrate your value to your audience. And if you want to make money off of them, and I mean that in the most loving, changing the world, all embracing, but really your email list exists for a purpose, to make your business money, then you need to be returning the favor by providing value. And there's 3 levels of providing value in this tip, right? There's level 1. And if you're not doing this, this is level 1 for you. Do this. Pick one day a week. Every week on that day, the first thing that you do in the morning is write an email. Anywhere from 100 to 500 words. That's it. Just text. Your number 1 goal should be to provide value in some way. No hard selling. It's just, here is some information and some value based on work that you experience with your clients, based on something you saw in the industry, based on something that you pull from your education program. What do I always say? The marketing is the product and the product is the marketing. So look to your product and pull out something and fucking talk about it, right? Do that once a week. Text only, email 100 to 500 words. Keep it quick and dirty, but do it every week. One day, do it every week. You don't have to don't sell anything here. You can have what we call like a super signature, which is like PS, if you really are ready to work with me right now, here's 2-3 choices you have. Join my program, book a call, download this freebie, right? Like you can always toss in a super signature once a week that helps you know. Not, this doesn't help you know. This helps you literally catch fish as they're ready to buy, right? Like, you want to know how you know if somebody's ready to buy? They tell you they're ready to buy because they click shit that's in the PS that gives them offers where you're offering to help them versus the content where you're providing value, right? You feel me? So provide value, put in a super signature, call it a day. Do that once a week and you're at bare minimum level. I'm super proud of you. If you're going to do it at level 2, you're going to do it twice a week. You're going to pick a couple days apart. You're going to do one email the same way you did the first one, something value-based off the top of your head, no sales. And then on the second day, you're going to treat it a little bit more structure. And you're basically going to dive a little bit deeper into that topic. You're going to have like a topic, 3 talking points, and a specific section that you go over every week. This is sort of your like overview into, maybe it's a newsletter overview. It's a newsletter of sorts. It's got a little more structure, but it's still focused on diving deeper into one theme. Now you got the same email you were sending already. You add on a little one where you go a little deeper for level 2. For level 3, you're sending emails out 3 times a week. Oh my God, 3 times a week. Blah, blah, blah. Listen, you're the only person that sees absolutely every freaking piece of content in social media that you post into the world. Nobody else does. Even your biggest, baddest fans don't open, click, watch, read everything, even if they wanted to. Even most of your clients don't watch everything. So stop thinking that 30% of your click list is the same 30% of the people, because it's not. Shifts all the time. Sometimes it's this people, sometimes it's these people, sometimes it's a little halfy, right? So don't be scared of 3 times a week. The other goal is this is a money tree. So if they're not there to bring business to you or help your business in some way, we're going to just prune our little tomato bush a little bit so we get big honking tomatoes, right? Now, in this particular case, you've got, you're just going to add another like off the head email, right? So on level 1, we're just like one value-based email, short, quick, and dirty. Second email that we add when we're ready to go to level 2 is that we add something that goes a little bit more in depth with like a core talking point, 3 subpoints, and a wrap it up, right? Something where we're really bringing the heat. And then the third email is the same like the first one. Just get in there quick and dirty, write a little something off the dome, provide value, tell a story, don't sell, super signature, hit send, call it a day. Okay? Now, that's what weekly value looks like. And I know that feels like a lot if you're not doing any, which I'm hoping everybody here is doing more than none, right? Fingers crossed, you're all doing more than none. But at the very least, one little off the dome frickin' 500 word email is nothing. And I'm not talking like big brands and, oh my God, I need to have a special photo for it. No, queen, we're talking about an email list that you an email that you sit down and go, you know what happened last week with X client? They brought this question to me. I gave them this answer and it totally changed the game. Let me share that same question and answer in this email. Like, want to know what a client asked me last week? They asked me this. Want to know what I said? La 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 la. P.S. If you want to work with me to get the same thing, here's 3 ways to get started. Fuck off. That's a great email. I'm going to stay subscribed to your list forever because you didn't waste my damn time with like a super scroll of what's going on in the world and like 47 videos to watch. You gave me something valuable that I could consume in 2 minutes and then reminded me politely that if I'm one of your clients who's ready to buy right now, I can. Fuck off. Money tree shit. You feel me? Okay. Calm down, Estrellita. We still got a little ways to go. Finally, once you have your amazing welcome sequence, a way to segment your list, and you've got some regular value happening in the frickin' chat, here's what's next. And it's spear phishing. We talked about this a little bit in the context of a super signature. Spear phishing works like this. You have one amazing tool with a very sharp pew at the end, and you wind it all up, and you dive into the water, and you wait, and you find, and you see the fish, and you get them, and you got one shot, and the shot needs to be good, and it's through water at a fish, right? But so few of you are focused on like a long ass nurture sequence to work up to asking them if they just want to join your program when none of you are out there spearfishing. And these are really emails, easy emails to write, like 9, 10, 12 word emails. I'm frickin' serious. So do you have I would say, like, how often do you send a spearfishing email? And there's a reason I call this a spearfishing email. But the truth is that the coach that taught me this called it a spear email because it signified like short something requiring a response. I don't know, there's like an acronym that goes with spear, but I can never remember it. I just remember it as like pew, spear fishing. And so forgive me for not having the acronym handy for you. Taki Moore, he's the freaking guy. Black Belt Academy is really what's up for my folks who might be interested in like who I listen to. He talks about this being a spear email because it's short, it requires some response, but it's super open-ended, right? And this is what a spear email looks like. Would you like to work with me to get the results that you like to get, right? Whatever this is. Oops, I didn't mean to pop out of that. I meant to click back over here. You want to know the truth? This email got me a client last week, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, very recently. It wasn't fancy. It didn't have a header. I sent it from my personal email, meaning there's like hello@yourbusiness.com versus like your name at yourbusiness.com. And because it came directly from me, it looked like I was popping into their inbox to go, hey, you want to work on this thing that I can see based on the way that you're tagged and segmented on my list? I know that you would like help with. I didn't send them a specific product. I didn't send them a specific pitch, offer, high ticket, low ticket, blah, 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 blah. Because what this is going to do is get me an email response if they do. And it's going to say, yeah, actually, I really need help with. And now we can dive into a qualifying conversation about what order is best, what offer you have is best for them. And yet, tell me you've sent out an email like this before. And you know why emails like this work? Because the value is always popping. Because I send my emails until people open them, click in them, or unsubscribe, right? Because I'm making sure that I'm driving forward the attention that, like, if I'm here to provide value, hey, I've been talking for a sec. Okay. Yeah. If I'm here to provide value, if I'm here to like pour into you, knowing that someday that's going to be flipped in the other direction, either you're going to refer me a client, you're going to become an affiliate, you're going to invite me to your podcast, you're going to take one of my courses, you're going to sign up for one of my freebies, you're going to, man, I don't care really, because the truth is that every single sub on my list means something. That's the fucking goal, right? Every single person on your list means something. And if you want somebody to refer you, but they have no idea what you're doing because you never send out emails that help people accomplish exactly what you help them do, i.e. provide value. You never send out a spear that is very clearly targeted to the sort of results that you can get. How would somebody, even if they're staying on your list and going, oh my God, it's another email from Starlight. I could never unsubscribe, even though I'm not going to buy from her. Because I just know, like, when the right person comes along, I'm going to want to connect her. So I'm going to open the email, look at it, and go, yeah, cool, and delete and pay attention. And maybe I delete them more often than I read them. But that person's going to have a lot of clarity about how they can help my business build because they're seeing it in my effing email. Okay? Okay. So, moral of the story, kittens. Lemongrass tea, delish. Fresh lemongrass out of my jungle garden, no big deal. The moral of the story is don't let zombies sit on your list. Find ways to re-engage them. Re-engage them until they click, open, click, or unsubscribe. If they never open and they never click, they're not of value. If they open, we know at least they're responding. If they click, then we use that click to segment them and help us understand better where they fit in the world. I have a segment on my email list that is just like VIPs and inner circle and has absolutely nothing to do with my marketing, right? But I know that every sub means something on my list, and that's the goal. The bit you can put into action, we'll like skip back over there real quick. The bit that you can put into action today, where'd we go? Right? Oh no, it was the whiteboard. Yeah, this is what you can put into action today. Take this lovely little bees here and frickin' map out what these segments are to you and how you're gonna see if you can identify them and what you're gonna send to them to encourage them to move from the outside like in, right? We want them to move from here all the way down into here. And if you can't identify them and you don't know what you're going to say to them, then what's the point of looking at your open rates? Right? Like you might as well just be like la 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 to your analytics, because otherwise you're just stressing yourself out when you're not going to do nothing. Okay? This is the part where you can take action right now. We could do this right now together, but let's see. I've been live for a good hot minute. How long have I been live for? Ooh, 40 minutes. Actually, this is my like perfect session length. I've been live for a good hot minute. And so what I'm going to do is you spend the next 10 minutes, seriously, no more than 10 minutes, jotting down some really short notes about what your sweet little inner circle of circles looks like. And I wish I could grab it, but my highlights jacked it all up. And make some notes. And if you've got a virtual assistant or you've got somebody helping you with your email marketing, send them your notes, right? Here's what I want to send to find out where people are. And once I know where they are, here's the thing I want to communicate or send to them next. And then let that person go and do their job for you. Yeah? If you're doing this yourself, figure out what is the most enticing, shiny object that you can send that group to get them to open and then click and tell you what's going on with them, with the way that they engage with your content. Pay attention to it. Start by benchmarking it now so you know where you're going, because these activities are going to have some remarkable impact on your metrics. And if you benchmark right now and take a screenshot of your analytics, in 90 days you can do one of those super cool like tweets where you're like, oh my god, freaking look at my amazing graph of change, and be a total case study for yourself, right? You can see the good stuff that's happening. But this is where you can start taking action today. Okay. I think I'm going to turn this off. Fantastic. And say, thank you so much for joining me. This has been super fun. You can see this is kind of the like stuff I love to do and share. I really appreciate you hanging around. I hope that you're getting value. If you have questions, put them in the comments wherever you're seeing this video, because I'll be around for a little bit for the next few minutes answering any questions that I see in the chats. And of course, if this is your first kind of exposure to me, the person, hi, I'm Starlight. It's so nice to meet you. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for like tolerating my F-bombs and general speaking real fast and giving you a lot of info and getting really nerdy with the numbers. I would love to know what your biggest takeaways are, right? That's the bit where we do this. You have the thing I want you to put into action. But what was the game changer for you in what we talked about today? Because we talked about a bunch of stuff, but I want to know one thing that like changed how you perceive your email list. Otherwise, you know where to find me, and I'll talk to you soon. Okay? Ciao, everybody. Bye. Finish the live with a little music. What do we got? The thing is, it's scary because I didn't plan this. So if I pick something that is too rude right out of the gate, ooh, I like this one. We're gonna play it. I hope it's not too rude. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, we gotta crank up the volume again.